worries. Take your time.
I think we are at a good point where we can get started. So good morning.
Yes.
So good morning and good evening all, and thanks Surbhi ji for accepting the invitation for the book reading. It is really honored to have you. So I would just give a quick intro about Surbhi Batra garu. So Surbhi Batra is a meditation practitioner and meditation teacher since 2021. She is a state licensed home daycare provider in Virginia, USA, and she pursued her master's degree in telecommunication. So she's a mother of two teenagers. She got introduced to meditation by her family member in the beginning of the year 2021. With regular practice of meditation, she has healed many of her health alignments, including heart disease, thyroid, cholesterol issues. She believes that meditation has transformed her life and has changed the perspective of life. Despite of her busy schedule, she finds time to teach meditation on various platforms through Zoom. She started reading the book The Untold Story of Sita since her daughter's name is Sia. Everybody, everyone has told her that Sita had hard married life and
So I think that might be a good idea.
sorry, just give me a minute. Okay, so sorry. Uh, Everybody had told her that Sita had a hard married life and she should not keep her daughter's name Sia. After she found out about this book through one of her PMC channels, she got curious to read and to learn about Sita's life from a woman's perspective. She has read this book on two other PSSM platforms and her relatives, and is currently reading this book on other PSSM platform. And participants are able to connect with the book. Though this book, through this book, we learn about great women sages, about the time and how powerful they were, and how these women were a backbone for Sita Mata. So this is a quick intro about Surabhi and also about the book. And now I hand it over to Surabhi. So Surabhi, it's up to you now. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you, Nitin sir, for a nice introduction. I would like to thank Patri sir and Swarmala Patri ma'am for bringing me into meditation like many others. She has brought all of, they both, the couple is the sweetest couple. They're guiding torches for all of us who's guiding, then they're guiding us to the path of meditation. And I thank them all. And I thank each one of you for taking time out from your busy schedule to come and listen to me. My heartfelt gratitude to Dallas team, Meditation Magic team for having me here. I have done a kids program with them in the past, and I would love to read Sita book on another platform so it can reach out to as many people as it can. So before I start the book, I would like to introduce you to the author of the book, Dina Mariam. So Dina Mariam ma'am, she lives in New York, and I have personally met her. Harita is one of the participants here. She was the one who took me there with all the nice people, Devi Chakka ma'am and everybody. So she was the one who, invited me to go see meet Dina ma'am. And Devi Chakka ma'am was the one who organized that. It was a wonderful day, full of blessings. And I might have to do one session just to talk about how my visit went with Dina ma'am. So little bit back to her about her life. She has been working with the Interfaith since 1990. And she's been served as a vice chair of the Millennium World Peace Summit of Regions of Spiritual United Nations. And she did many more of these summits. These summits, they started since 2000. And she is also founder of Global Peace Initiative for Women. In 2008, Ms. Miriam was one of the founding members of the Contemplative Alliance, which later became known as GPIW. The purpose of this alliance is to bring the meditation teachers like you, me, and all the participants and practitioners in a collective effort to uplift and transform society while caring and honoring the Mother Earth. So we always have to take care of the Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is the one that provides for us all the time. For over 40 years, she has been a student of Paramhansa Yogananda and a practitioner of a Kriya Yoga meditation. She has master's degree from Columbia University, and she has served as a board member of the Harvard University. In 2014, she received a Nivanu Peace Prize for her efforts in the peace efforts. So that was my little introduction for Deena ma'am, and she is a very down-to-earth, very sweet person. After this, I would like you guys to be learning something about Ravan. We all, growing up, we know about who Ramji was, who Sita was, who Kaushalya, Janak, all these characters in Ramayana, right? But no one knows much about Ravan. The reason I want you to know a little bit about Ravan is because what I am today is because of my past lives. So why Ravan was the way he was, we need to know so we can see him with a different perspective. So we will learn this in the story too while I'm reading the story, but I would like to give you a little bit backstory. So Ravan was the gatekeeper of Lord Vishnu. Okay. So when eventually, when you are a gatekeeper to such a powerful man, the ego started coming in him, that I am a gatekeeper of Vishnu, I can do anything I want. So when ego, and then that ego turned into lust. So all these bad karma, bad habits, bad authorities comes in your body one by one, lying, ego, all this, they pile up in your brain. And in spite of Mata, she said, please go start meditation. Vishnu Bhagwan also told the gatekeeper, Jaya, that he should meditate and get rid of all his lust, ego, lying, and all that habits, but he wouldn't listen. So a long story short, there came a day when he was cursed by Brahman Putra. Putra means son, kids of Brahman Putra. They came to visit, and he just shushed them away. And then when they saw that he was Jaya was disrespecting Mata, the Brahman Putra gave curse to Jaya. So in this book, we only talk about Ravan. So only we talk about Jaya. Jaya was the previous birth of Ravan. Okay. But there were two brothers, Jaya and Vijay. I found this on the internet. Anybody can Google it, but Jaya, Vijay. So both the brothers, they had the whole situation, lust and ego. And so they were cursed by Brahman Putra that they will go to the earth and stay there for 7 janmas, 7 births, 7 lifetimes. Okay. But they were like, no, please forgive us. We cannot be away from Lord Vishnu and Mata for such a long time. So give us an alternative. So the alternative that they got was that they will be, instead of 7, they will be on the earth for 3 lifetimes. But these 3 lifetimes, they will hate Vishnu. And Vishnu has to take an avatar, reincarnation. Avatar means reincarnation, to bring them back to the Dham Lok, Vishnu Lok, on the place where the Vishnu lives, right? So the first birth that they took was in the form of Hiranyakashpa and Hiranyaksh. So there were 2 brothers, Hiranyakashp and Hiranyaksh. That was in Satyayug. The second time, so again, Lord Vishnu had to come and in a form of boar and then Risring Bhagwan, and they had to kill them, both the brothers, and that was 1 lifetime. Second lifetime was Ravan and Kumkaran in Treta Yuga. So that was Ramji had to come take care of that, right? That was again Vishnu's reincarnation. The third birth was Shishupal and Dhanvantre, and Krishna had to come as an avatar. So when I met with Deena ma'am, she did say that whatever parts and whatever souls they could not take care, whatever roles they could not play completely during the time of their form in Ram and Sita, they took reincarnation in the form of Krishna and Rukmani. And so that brings us to the next book of Deena ma'am, Rukmani's book. Okay. And we don't hear much about Rukmani. We all know about Radha. And so that's my one of the books that I want to read next, because I want to know, a lot of women sages have been not talked about, because the Ramayana that we see is more guided by men. And that's why women sages we don't hear about much. And so this is why we need to know about this book. Okay, now coming to the book. I'm going to introduce you to the few characters. So this book has 4 main characters besides the regular characters that we have, Ram, Sita, and all that. We have 4 main characters. There are 4 maids of Sita. One is Soma. She's the main character. She will be there until the second last chapter of the book. So we cannot forget the name of Soma. I will keep on reminding you because in the fast-paced life that we have, we will forget the names, right? So I will always, the whole reason I like to tell the story in a longer way, in a chapter by chapter in detail, so I can connect the dots so people don't forget. Even if you miss a session, you can always watch the recording, okay? So Soma will be there with us until the second last chapter. Then comes Meenakshi. Meenakshi will be there for a few chapters, but then Meenakshi has a reincarnation or a new birth, not a reincarnation, but a new birth. So she dies and then she meets Soma, and when Meenakshi dies, her new birth that she takes place, her name is Ansuya. So, and then the third one is Rohana. Rohana and Usha are the characters in the chapter until maybe 4th or the 5th chapter. One leaves her body and one goes back. These 4 maids, they come with Sita Mata with her after she gets married. Also, I would like to tell you guys that when we, what we are in this body, we always bring our some traits from the past life and also our fears. That's very important that we will know in this book. That, if let's say I am scared to do a swimming, maybe I died in the pool or I died in the sea or ocean in my last birth. That's why I'm fearful of going near the water. Any water that freaks me out, scares me out, it could be because I died in the water in my previous birth, or maybe many other previous births, some other previous, not previous, but a couple births ago. And sometimes, we also bring my facial expression, my facial features with me in my present birth. So like moles, long hair, nails, all this, they come with, we bring them in our present birth from whatever we have from our previous birth. So that brings to our story. So we are all ready for the story? Okay. We have to remember that we have to bring our inner child to enjoy the story. Keep your inner child alive so that you can enjoy the story. So our first story is childhood in Mithila. So, and I also like to give age to my characters so you guys know who is talking. So, you can imagine the characters and you can feel the pace of the book. So the first chapter is narrated by Meenakshi. Meenakshi, Sita is not born yet. So by the time Sita will be born, Meenakshi will be around about 21. So the first chapter, Childhood in Mithila, is narrated by Meenakshi. That becomes eventually our Sita Mata's nanny. Okay. So she says that she was born in a Brahman family and her father and grandfather have always served Maharaja Janak. And there was no task low or high for her father. Her father always wanted to be in a serving mode, always serve Raja Janak. Whatever Raja Janak says, even if he says mop the floor, they would mop the floor because that's how Raja Janak was as well. He never thought that I'm a king, and you cannot, if I can do this. He only expected from his people what he could do, then only he would expect his people. If he thinks he cannot do, he would not expect his people. And Janak Baba was called lovingly Baba by everybody because everybody thought of him as a fatherly figure. He was a king, but he always lived a saintly life. He always spent most of his time in the hermitages, and that's why they didn't have any kids for a long time. And Sunana Ma, Janak's wife, was called Sunana Ma again because everybody loved and respected her as a mother. And so they'd never call them King Janak or Queen Sunana. They always addressed them as Baba and Ma. So Meenakshi, he said, Meenakshi, when you have two male people in your life, you always kind of compare them. Like I would always compare my cousin with my father because my cousin was we are three sisters. So, my cousin, and I will always compare. And after I got married, my dad never did that. I used to tell my husband, and why do you do this? So, end up comparing. So Meenakshi here compares Janak Baba to her own father. So right now we only see in this chapter, Meenakshi only has her father in her life, no mother, no siblings. We will know the reason why. later in the later chapters. And Janak Baba did not distinguish between people's status of life. And he always saw the inner person. He always saw what the person was inside. He never saw if you're rich or poor. He always loved everybody and respected everybody in the same way. There was a mutual love relationship between him and his people. He was very simple man, but and a very respected man. And Queen Sunena Ma, helped to create the refined environment. Nothing to show off. Not like they never lived like a queen. Simple palace, not very dandy and gaudy. Nothing, very simple. And on the other hand, she says that her father was a perfectionist. He's always comparing and like brooding about stuff. He had a very bad temperament. When it came for Janak Baba, he always became softer when it came to topic of Janak Baba. That's how her father was. She says, my father always mentions about this curse that my family had to undergo. But what was the curse? I don't know. And he always tells me that because of Janak Baba and the kindness of his ancestors, we are here in the palace. If they had not shown that kindness to us, we would not be here today. So he always was in a gratitude mode for Raja Janak and his ancestors. She talks more about her father. She says her father was a very strict man. For every daughter, every child, they think their father is a very strict person, right? Most fathers are like that. So she says, my father lacked the caring sense. I don't have the mother. So I expect that a motherly nature also from my father, but I never got that from my father. And she says, I don't have any siblings, so I feel I'm alone, lonely. So there was another servant, Aditi. I did not introduce her in my introduction because she will leave her body very soon, maybe in this chapter or next. So Aditi is another house servant, and she treats Meenakshi as her daughter. She's very aged, and so Meenakshi and her have a very strong bond. So now, right now, Meenakshi is about age 12. And so one day, Meenakshi was cleaning her room and Aditi comes to check on her. And Aditi tells her father, your daughter is very nice. She keeps up room very nicely. And, I'm very proud of her. And back then, the girls used to get married early, right? So she said, oh, your daughter is going to be a very good wife. As soon as the word wife came, the father got so upset. No, she cannot get married. He was very upset about that. So Meenakshi gets confused, like, okay, I'm not very pretty, but I have a long hair and I have a mole. So please don't forget the long hair and the mole. That will be the trait Meenakshi will take to the next birth when she is born as Ansuya. And that's how Soma, her friend, I will introduce you soon enough, will recognize that she is the Meenakshi from the previous birth. So she says, what was the reason that my father says I cannot marry? But she didn't put much attention to it. One day when she was about around 15 years of age now, she saw her father scrubbing the floor. She gets very upset. You are getting old, father. You are not feeling well. Why are you mopping the floor? Why can't you hire somebody? And she says, when those words came out of my mouth, why can't you hire somebody or can you not find a servant? I knew I was in big trouble. But that's why you say, always watch what's coming out of your mouth, right? So then she goes and complains to Aditi. Aditi says, Raja Janak Baba has special guest over and a servant called out. So your father took upon himself to clean the palace. So that night, when Aditi was putting Meenakshi for bedtime, her dad comes and he tells Aditi that you can leave now. And he tells Meenakshi, guess what? I found a new servant. And she says, oh, okay, who's that? It's you. So dad puts her in charge as a punishment to teach her a lesson. No job is low or high. Everything can be done by any person. The scheduled caste and everything we have categorized as the yugas have moved on. But back then, the father was trying to teach her, nothing is low. Don't think that cleaning the toilets or doing this or this is a low job. Everybody can do anything. You should be proud of what you're doing. And moreover, he was in a gratitude mode for Raja Janak because he was their savior because of the curse that we don't know yet, but we will know eventually. So, and then she's like cleaning the floor. Now, 2 more years have passed to this incident, and she still thinks, now she's about 17, she still thinks that the father is trying to punish her. And one day she gets into an argument with her father, and she runs away. Luckily, back then there were no doors. These days, our kids bangs the door on us. Back then, the kids would run from home, hide themselves into the jungle. So that's what Meenakshi did. So Meenakshi is like, Aditi comes later in the evening to find her, and Meenakshi goes, "Oh, so Dad sent Aditi to find me? I'm going to get up and go in the deeper jungle, so Aditi can't even find me. Let them find me, and let them suffer and think that I'm not nowhere around to be found." So when Aditi sees Meenakshi, she says, "Meenakshi, don't run away. I have a very bad news." So she tells her that your father has left his body. So she starts crying. She goes, "What happened?" So what had apparently happened that the roof was leaking, and the father climbed the roof to check the roof if the person who was fixing the roof has fixed it properly. He slipped and fell from the steps, and he died right away. So now Meenakshi thinks maybe that argument, that drama that I created, that's what must have bothering my father, and that's why he was not paying attention to his steps. And so guilt comes in there. What does Patri sir says? Guilt cannot let us move forward in life, in meditation, in life. So never have a guilt. So right now, Meenakshi does not know what the curse in her family is. And now she is living a life of a guilty person because she's guilty that she thinks that she is the reason that her father died. So, and now it's been few more years that her father has passed away, and she's still cleaning the floors. So she thinks as of herself as a punishment that, I am the reason that my father died. Now I should literally clean my floors here just to balance that guilt that I have gotten in me. Aditi keeps on telling her, your father has gone, just forget the punishment and, just move on with your life. I'm getting old. I need help in the kitchen. You cook very nicely. Why don't you come help me in the kitchen? Meenakshi says, no, I will clean the floors and I'll come help you, but I will not quit cleaning the floors. I have to do this job. So she says that her realization has to come. And so the realization hasn't come in her yet. And she feels that she needs to feel that emotion in her, that no job, the lesson that her father was trying to teach, she hasn't learned that lesson. And unless she keeps on listening to that, learns that lesson in her life by herself, she doesn't know what lesson the father is trying to teach her. But we all know that what the lesson father was trying to teach her. So, so we haven't learned that lesson. So we'll know more about in chapter 2. And I will stop the session right here, and I will open the floor if anybody has questions for me. Thank you for listening to me, masters.
Thank you, Surbhi, for reading out the first chapter. So if any participant has any questions, they can unmute and they can ask Surbhi. So participants, I have muted you. So if you want to ask any questions, you can unmute yourself. Okay, Surbhi, we don't have any questions, but day one was, I think the first chapter was really a very good one, and you have told a lesson what we have to learn. So I see a hand raising, Srigar. Yes. You can go ahead and you can unmute yourself.
Thanks so much, Master. Namaste, Masters. Surbhi Master, this is a great information. Personally, I did not hear this story that you are, talking about. It is a lot of great information for me. Thank you so much, for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I should also mention to you that this whole book is written on Deena ma'am's vision. So, what she saw in her meditation in the vision, and she's a high meditator. The energies are very high. We spent almost 5 hours at her place when Harita invited me over with the whole New Jersey team. We went there. It was lovely, lovely, day that we had with her. And she's very down to earth woman, and usually when even we have a guest or somebody to our house, we say, oh, 2 hour window, okay, now it's time. We start looking at the watch, any appointments, right? People, she should be like, oh, I'm a very big person, so 2 hours should be a cutoff time. No, we spend a whole 5 hours with her. She is a lovely woman to talk to. And all these visions that she gets are beautiful way of telling the story. And so somebody even asked her, what do you know about Kaushalya Ma? She says, so Kaushalya Ma's maid would know how Kaushalya was. Since Meenakshi ends up being Sita Mata's maid, that's how she tells the story. And so Meenakshi has a mole. And so Dina ma'am, in her visions, she sees as her past life as Meenakshi. And so that's why she gets connected very well with this book, while she's writing the book. So she sees herself in her visions as Meenakshi being, she is a rebirth of Meenakshi. That's what she thinks. While I was doing a Gudakesha course, I read this book on that platform. And so we were mentioning about the mole, and I have a mole on my left cheek as well. So one of the participants said, Surbhi, who knows you were a past life in Meenakshi as well. I said, maybe, I don't know. So I'm so attached to this book. I have read this book 10 times. And this is if I don't count my relatives, this is, if I don't count my relatives, this platform today is the 5th platform that I'm reading the book. And I'm loving it. Every time I read the book, as Patri sir says, that when we read one book, we are in a different stage in our meditation. So as our meditation timings increase, we go further down. That's how our perspective of reading the same book changes. So I've read book when I started the book last year. I've read this book, again. So every time I go review my notes before I start my session, so I know not to miss any important points. Even though I'm reading this like 10, 11 times, I still want to reread it, this book and my notes, so I don't miss anything to beautiful people and beautiful souls that are listening to this book. So thank you again. If anybody doesn't have any more questions, we'll meet again next week, and I will hand it to Nitin sir so he can start the meditation.
Just want to share one thing while you are talking. Yes. For sure, I don't know what character you are, but you are pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that you are definitely one of the characters over there. That I can say based on what you are, the way you are actually explaining these things. You're just explaining as if like an elementary, right? So that's where I was actually really fortunate, because at this point, at this time of the day, we have a group that we actually do meditation from 9 to 10. Today, I actually skipped that meditation, came here. So I mean, like, wow, and after hearing how this whole story started and how this whole book has come, now I can see myself so fortunate to be in here. I can definitely do meditation right after this, but thank you so much for all the background.
Thank you for your kind words. Also, I would like to tell everybody here that we all know who Rishi Atri was, who all these great men rishis were. We don't hear about many of women sages that were there at that time. The best part about this book is that this is a more like a book of women empowerment. And I feel every man should read this book so they can, if their child or their wife or their mother, anybody in their life, any women in their life is going through a low time in their life, this book can literally cheer you up, that women can do, so much, and they should not feel down at any time. Be strong. Sometimes women need that nudge within this fast-paced life. And I feel every woman should read this book so they can feel that confidence in them. And when I read this book, I feel like, I'm like a different person. When I read this book on these platforms, I talk about this book, I feel like I'm a different person, and I forget all my problems. Because when Deekshitha was deciding the timings with me, I'm like, 10 to 10:30 will be very late. She's like pushing it. Surbhi, please, we don't want to change the time because I'm in Virginia, I'm an hour behind. I'm like, okay, Wednesday night, let's push it. 10 to 10:30, I will leave the show, and so I can go to bed on time because my day starts at 4:30. So thank you for listening, and I really, really appreciate. And we'll do maybe a few more sessions. I'll take more like 14, 15 sessions, hopefully, so I can narrate this book nicely and in detail.
Sure. Thank you, Surbhi. Thanks a lot for going through the first chapter, and looking forward for the next week's chapter.
Yes, some of the chapters are very big, so sometimes we will have 2 or 3 sessions on one chapter as well. because last two chapters are very big. They might take 2 or 3 sessions per chapter. So
Sure.
initial chapters are very small. Okay.
Sure.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much again. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
So now I think now what we can do is we can do a meditation for the next 30 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and play the music, and we can do the meditation till 10 o'clock. So let me.
Guys, please, in meanwhile, everyone sit comfortably. Close your eyes, clasp your fingers, cross your legs. Just observe the natural breath. Natural breath. No mantras chanting. Please remove your spectacles. Thank you, Master. Masters, please bring back your consciousness slowly. On the count of 5, please open your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you so much, Masters, for joining today's session. We'll meet the same timing on next week, Wednesday. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.